Hey, how's it going everyone? This video is a Halo Reach One Final Firefight achievement guide. To get this achievement, you have to achieve a score of 150,000 points on Lone Wolf. So to do this, you're going to want to play on easy, with all of the scoring skulls on except for the mythic skull. You can put on the non-scoring skulls if you like, although I'd advise not using the cowbell skull, just because that can affect explosions and make things a little bit more difficult. When you start out here, if you just run straight forward, you can find some extra DMR ammo on the floor, which is pretty useful at the beginning. You need to use the DMR to take out the grunts. If you're struggling to do this with the blind skull on, which removes your HUD so you don't have a crosshair, you can put that on, although it's just going to take you a little bit longer to get the score if you don't have that skull on. So do your best to pick off the grunts with your DMR. Keep them at a distance. If they detonate in your face, it can cause you to have a very bad day. So to deal with the elites, you just want to run up in their face, let them melee you once, move around the back of them, and then assassinate them. It takes a little bit of practice to get that consistently, but once you get it down, it's actually quite easy. And that's the most effective way to deal with these ultra elites in the beginning. They still take a little while to kill without using that backsmack technique. But you want to keep doing this until the general elites show up. They're the golden elites that have concussion rifles or the energy swords. Once you get a hold of the energy swords, it makes things a lot easier. Although because of the famine skull, the energy sword does run out of energy really quickly. So if you get this sort of technique down when you're just getting behind the elites and killing them with that assassination, that can still come in really handy when you're doing the later stage of this achievement. So just keep killing these guys. It's a bit repetitive. You will have to do this for about an hour to get this achievement. I've shortened down the video to about 10 minutes. I did my best just to include enough so you guys can figure out the strategy. And basically you just want to try and keep track of your shield. It's difficult with the blind skull on, like I said, because you don't have your HUD. But just do your best to try and keep a rough idea of how many melees you're taking. Obviously you can only recharge your shield by meleeing enemies, so you want to make sure that you're consistently hitting enemies. These ultra elites are probably going to be more trouble than the generals because they have plasma weapons and they can shoot you from a distance, whereas those generals only have concussion rifles and energy swords. And a lot of the time, the concussion rifle generals won't really shoot you when they're close, so you should be okay to survive. You can see the first general showed up there. I've gained his sword. By turning the mythic skull off, it means that you only have to hit the elites twice to kill them. And you can sort of chain together kills to try and get multi-kills, double kills and triple kills. By hitting one elite, moving on to the next one, hitting him once, you will get more points for getting multi-kills. So if you've got 2 or 3 elites around, you can always get them down to 50% by hitting them all once and then finishing them all off one after the other to chain together a double kill or a triple kill just to get extra points, make things go a little bit quicker. I like to hang around this area because there's a bubble shield here, and if your shield does get broken, you can use that to get your health back. Although if you do this the same way as I'm doing it, you shouldn't really reach a state where your shield gets broken. It can happen, but it only usually happens if you're getting surrounded and hit a good 4 or 5 times in a row. So just do your best to thin out their numbers, keep slapping them with the swords. If you find yourself in a situation where there's not a lot of swords on the floor, just switch to what other weapon you have and start doing that backsmacking technique like you were doing on the earlier elites. It's a good idea just to keep as many swords on the floor as you can. I like to keep 2 or 3 around, and I also don't like to consistently use the sword so that I can sort of keep a good stock of swords on the floor. It is the easier way to kill them. You can't assassinate the elites with the sword unless it runs out of energy, but you can see here it's kind of frustrating when you feel like you're hitting them in the back and it doesn't finish them off straight away. But the good thing about the sword is it knocks them back a bit. A normal melee won't really knock them back, but the sword does. So a lot of the time they miss their melee when they go for it. But also, when you hit them once, they sort of get stunned sometimes, and also if you break their shield they get stunned, which the sword tends to do a lot more over the normal melees. Like I said, this is going to take you about an hour to get done. Definitely took me a few attempts, and I did try just doing it with the assassinations that I was doing at first, but I found that this technique was much more consistent and really helped me get it done. You can see how far back you send them when you hit them with the sword. You just want to keep thinning out their numbers. Don't let too many get around you at once, because if you do, you're more than likely just going to get smacked to death very, very quickly. But sometimes some of the elites will just sort of stay on the outskirts of the fight and won't attack you, and that might be a little bit annoying at first, but it actually kind of helps because it just means you don't get too many around you at once. Also, you want to look out for plasma grenades on the floor. If there's too many grouped up, it can cause a chain reaction and that can get you killed. If you're at full shield, it shouldn't really be too much of a problem, but if you get to a situation where you're at low shield and then a chain reaction goes off, it can get you killed really quickly, so just be careful. Maybe throw a grenade into the piles of grenades to get rid of them. You can also swap your other weapon for a concussion rifle, and the concussion rifle will set off the plasma grenades as well on the floor. Because of these guys with concussion rifles, it can be a little bit tricky. If you do get to a situation where you run out of shield, if you run away and grab the bubble shield and then put it down, you can just keep yourself safe from concussion rifle shots and try and lure one into the bubble shield and get your shield back. A little bit easier than just getting surrounded and shot from 7 different directions with concussion rifle shots. Makes things a little bit easier, and I like to keep it around because it regens your health. Like I said, if your shield does get broken, you'll more than likely take some health damage. Because we've got the blind skull on, you can't see what your health's at. If you do want to make it a bit easier, you can put that blind skull on, but like I said, it's just going to take longer. I think with all of the skulls on except for the mythic skull, your score is at 1.2, and if you take blind off, then it's at 0.9, so it's definitely a big influence on your score multiplier. But yeah, you can see how quickly you rack up those points, and also how quickly those grenades on the floor can rack up. This did take me just over an hour, but I didn't want to show the whole thing because I thought it'd just be kind of boring and repetitive. I've actually had this video sitting around for a little while, but I had some other things that I wanted to post before I got this posted. This will probably be the last Halo video for me for a little while until Halo 1 releases on the PC. Really looking forward to getting that done. I'm sure I'll be bringing some more guides out for that. I want to do Lasso and Legendary. Also, if this is the first video you've seen of mine and you're looking for maybe a Lasso guide or the under 3 hours Legendary achievement guide, I've got guides for those if you want to check those out. Pretty fun to do. Lasso was definitely a massive challenge. So there's the jump cut there. Getting close now, 140 odd thousand score on the board. This is a really good place just to sit. I feel like if you go anywhere else, it can be a little bit awkward with the directions the elites come from, and they can sort of pile up on you. But I feel like this area is sort of central, so they have to run a good distance to get to you. Some will stay on the outskirts. It gives you a good opportunity to just keep knocking these guys back, taking them out as fast as you can. So there we go, that's over 150k. I didn't want to drag this on for too long, so let's just give up the ghost here. Let them do their thing, let this play out. Going out on my own terms, with my own grenades. Good times. So, there we go. 150k score. Definitely a difficult achievement, but fun to do. Took me a few attempts. Was pretty frustrating trying to get this one done at first. I was using the strategy of just doing assassinations at first, and it wasn't working out for me. So I decided to give this one a go, and this one worked a lot better. So yeah, there you go. Hopefully that's helped some of you out. Let me know in the comment section if it has. Much love for watching. If you're new around here, you might want to subscribe. If you're an existing sub and you'd like to receive notifications of my new uploads, you might want to turn notifications on. Again, thank you very much for watching. Have a great day, and until next time, take it easy.